People deluded. Now, two young players that I've looked at Lorient, and I'm still getting to learn and getting their characteristics and developing my full knowledge on the players. But two players I've got a lot of time for. We'll talk about both of them at length. But firstly, Julien Ponceau and also Milne. I cannot say his name. I could just about say his last name. I was on Google looking at the pronunciations, but they both look promising young players. I'll start with Meslier. My French people allow me. I like him. He's 18-year-old. He's about 6 foot plus. So obviously these are things you want to see with a keeper. Not that there's not good short keepers, but you want to see someone that's a towering presence, collecting from corners and things like that. He could probably exert himself a bit more, be a bit more vocal. I don't think he's necessarily the quietest of people, but from what I see of him footage, he does seem to be growing in that department. But maybe obviously as a keeper you kind of need to be brave, not just in putting your face or body on the line, but also vocal with your centre halves. You can't kind of be a coward as a keeper. You find very few elite keepers or keepers of any decent standard that are very introverted and stuff. At least off the field they can be that, but on the field they need to be a certain character. I'm not saying they need to be shouting every 5 minutes, but when things need to happen, it needs to happen. You can't have a soft keeper, and I don't think that's him anyways. Do you think his agility could improve in terms of just getting down to block shots? But again, I'm not working with him week in, week out, and I'm just a football fan. I like what I see from him. I think he's got big potential. I've seen him at the under-17s World Cup in India, if I can remember correctly. He's been wanted by Chelsea. Monaco came close to signing him in the summer. Personally, I feel it's someone that everyone should look at, but I believe it's someone that Arsenal in particular should look at. I know we've just signed Leno. Martinez has gone on loan to Reading. And if you look at Martinez's just career at Arsenal, he's been here, 9 years or so? He's 26 now. He arrived at 17. He's only played 14 times. For context, his loan spell at Wolves wasn't the most illustrious. In fact, many of you would be thinking, oh, when was he at Wolves? Or Wolves fans might have even forgot. He's played more times for Wolves than he has played for us. So I think he's someone who's got potential to have a decent career, or he can have a good career. He definitely is better than the sort of football he's been getting at Arsenal in that regards. But that shows you that's someone that needs to play. That's someone that hasn't really got a future here, and that's someone that's probably third choice at best or departing the club. Now you've got Martinez, who probably doesn't want to be forced out of Arsenal, and he did sign a new deal, and I think he's technically classed as homegrown. But if he concedes that he wants to keep it moving, he could depart the club in the summer and free up wages. Czech's already confirmed he's retiring. We've got Matt Macy, who's on loan and he's having a bit of mixed success. But if we're honest, at least at current, if he shows us potential, shows us anything different, then cool. But currently, if you're thinking second/third choice, you probably needed another keeper. Now, if I was Meslier, I wouldn't want to leave just yet. As he said in his own words, well, not exactly his own words, the key is to play week in, week out at the moment. And that's what he's going to be afforded eventually at Lorient. He's made 12 appearances so far, and he's going to be allowed to grow there. He's playing in the second division in France. I mean, no youngster anywhere can develop quietly without people taking notice, as you're seeing with the clubs he's been linked with. But he's someone I'll be looking at. He probably wouldn't want to sit on the bench, but possibly with Unai Emery. He was obviously a PSG manager. Obviously, you saw someone leave Lorient in Guendouzi, and he's getting a lot of football. Obviously, the long-lasting French ties with Arsenal and things like that. Apologies, people, for shaking the screen, the laptop. But these are all things that could potentially entice him to sign for the club. I like him, and I think he's going to have a big future. There's many people who know more about the player than me, so I implore you to go on Google, social media, TV, anything you can do to do your own research on the guy, because like I said, I need to build up my own knowledge on the guy. I don't know him like the back of my hand, and if I don't know a player like that, then I don't really like to really speak about them of sorts. But he's someone I'm enjoying seeing, and I look forward to seeing more of him. But I do think he's got potential. I'm not going to say whether he can be world class in these things, but he looks like someone that could be someone that you look probably in the next 5 years possibly playing at definitely a more reputable club. No disrespect to Lorient. So yeah, obviously that's Milne. On the topic of Ponceau or Ponzo, I can never say his name. Ponceau, I cannot say his name. Julien Ponceau. He's the one I want to see more of the most, because he's one of them people. I know people think even you lot that watch me on a regular basis, you think I'm sitting here with a pack of notes under my jumper or in my pocket, ready to reel off players. I see plenty of players, but I need confirmations. then that could be the confirmation bias before I start really speaking about them. And he's someone I want to see a bit more of. But what I'm seeing so far, I do like. Firstly, one thing he would need to improve is his physicality. He can play in a couple of central midfield positions, and he can play on the flanks. The flanks is what is the example I'm going to give to you. He's still growing physically. Now, I think it was against... I don't even remember the team. It could have been against Oxley. Forgive me if I'm wrong. In fact, it couldn't have been them. Anyways, Lorient were playing someone. It could have even been Torres or something like that, or Torres, however you say the name of the team. It was one of them games there. He was playing on the right hand side. The left back or the left winger breezed past him, and it's like he's trying to tackle people. He's trying to put him off, but he just physically can't, innit? And then eventually it leads to an effort with the opposition striker. And it's not his fault. I'm not attributing the goal to his fault. It's just obviously when you review a goal and you see things or individuals that could have stopped it, or the past of things happening, if he was a bit physically stronger or tougher in that regards, or just physically more bowler or something like that, it could have stopped. So physically need to improve. Probably why at this moment in time, he's a young 18-year-old. He doesn't, it's like Milne, he doesn't need to step up yet. I actually like his forward runs. He continues making his runs. I think he's only scored once, or I've only seen him score once at the first team level for Lorient, and it wasn't the most illustrious of finishes. It was a tapping inside the box, but he followed his run. Young players fail to be calculated off the ball more often than not. They're very good off the ball and on the ball, and they do a lot of mavericky stuff. But as you get older, you need to be calculated. And what you do without a football in training makes a difference, and what you do on the field without the football makes the difference. Everybody sees Messi's lovely dribbles and stuff, but nobody sees him make runs to trick certain defenders, or make runs to take certain players away before he's even received the ball. Things like that make the difference, and he's showing the willingness. He's got good technical qualities, like you'd expect with any player that's of French descent or for playing in France, a young French player at the moment. I forgot to say he's obviously French, but he's of Angolan descent. I like him a lot, man. He's got a good technical level. He's positive. He tries to take people on. He looks like he could develop into someone with an eye for goal. Just how far he goes is up to him, but I like what I see so far. Again, I'm just scratching the surface in terms of knowing about this player and things, so I'll still review him. If he hasn't played that much for Lorient. In fact, I don't even have the stats how many times he's played, so let me roll that up for you lot. Go on Safari. I should really use Google Chrome, but yeah. So yeah, people, he's 18. In fact, he's just turned 18. He was 18 in November, so he's going to be 19 this year. He's made 13 appearances, 9 in the second division in France, as you can see, people, as I've told you already, scoring once. So the example I just gave you was the only goal he scored. If we roll up Milne's, just to thingy it as well. Where is it? Young 18-year-old. There we go. See, Milne is contracted until 2022, so signing him will be harder, and he's a French under-19 international. I forgot to mention that. He's made 12 appearances. In fact, I did say that. Let me just check I've got the right information in terms of internationals. I'm sure he was at the under-17s World Cup. I could be... Well, yeah, people, that's what I'm on... No. People, I'm sure he was at the under-17s World Cup, man. I could be wrong. I'm sure he was there though, man. I've definitely seen him at youth level from France. I could have my chronological time clock could be off, but I'm so sure I've seen this guy. He was there. He's 18 now, so he definitely could have been there last year. For people didn't know, man. I know he must have been there. Sorry, people. I've gone a bit off the cuff under 17. Because I know Salon was there and all them guys there were there, but... I'm sure I've seen this guy, bro, at under 17s for France level. Yeah, forget about all this, people. But yeah, I'm sure. Either way, I've definitely come across him playing for France at youth level. I've touched upon him, seeing him at first team level. I want to review both of them a bit more before I start calling for either. Milne is the one. If I had to, out of both of them, if I had to sit here and say which one to sign, it would be Milne. I mean, he's a keeper and he looks very good. Julien does look like he's got a lot of potential, but again, he's only played 12 times or so, 12, 13 times, as I said, people. He scored once. So I'm going to need to do my own research on him a bit more before I even call for him to come to Arsenal. But these are two players I'm looking at, especially in regards to Milne. Definitely looking at to bring to this club, or definitely someone should be looking at, man. But it is what it is, man. Yeah, man, there's not much more to say, people. On that note, people, deluded, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. I'm out.